What up, nerds, and welcome to another special episode of Straight Chilling. We are still in the throes of festival season, and we got another festival wrap-up show for you today. We were fortunate enough to check out some movies provided by us, by Fantasia to us, rather. Fantasia International Film Festival, celebrating their 28th year of doing the thing. And we got some movies to run down. I am, of course, Bob, and with me, as always, you got your boy Randy calling in from DC. What's up, Randy?
Oh, yeah!
What's going on, buddy? Good to hear from you. I'm excited to talk about this latest crop of films. Fantasia, they bring the heat, I think. Some of these movies, they get some of the bigger releases, I feel like.
Piping
more
hot.
Interesting releases.
So hot. Mm-hmm. Burn your tongue hot. Last but not least, calling in from Seoul, South Korea, we got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
What up? It's your boy Soju. Back for the bonus episode after missing the main episode. I'm back, boys.
Must be
Fucking
nice.
Yeah.
It was great. Just so great not doing this podcast.
On your ass.
It was the best thing I didn't do ever.
Really felt refreshed for the first time in a long time, like 10 years or something.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad.
That's too damn bad. Yeah, we got a handful of movies we're going to talk about this evening. I think, Randy, you saw the most feature films from this festival, more than Juice and I, for sure. So why don't you kick us off, man? Pick one of your crop. What did you get to see?
Sure. So, relevant to some of my interests, I started off. I know I started off by praising the festival. I'm going to start off with a movie that I did not enjoy particularly, which is a Japanese film called This Man, which is modeled after the meme/urban legend of the same name, which I went to the Overlook Film Festival costume party dressed as.
Whoa!
For those who aren't familiar with this meme, this icon, this is if you know the movie Dream Scenario with Nick Cage, that movie's premise is based off of this. Basically, some artist, I can't remember who, posted up signs all over the place, these printed out signs with this like weird looking big eyebrowed troll looking guy on there, like human enough but just off, and it says, have you seen this? Have you dreamt this man? If you have dreamt this man, please leave your recordings at whatever, thisman.com or whatever it is. And so people were like, it became a thing. It just became a thing. This was years ago now, I think probably like 4 or 5 years ago, but it's still kind of like becoming better known. And I guess they modeled this movie after it. This is directed by, I'm going to butcher this, I'm sorry, Tomojiro Amano. So this is modeled after that. They have this man in the movie. There's characters that are just like dreaming this guy and they end up dead. And this movie feels like so fucking weird, man, and not in a like artistic way, but like in a stilted way where everybody seems like completely nonplussed by the fact that all their friends are getting murdered, and there's like, oh yeah, it's just a hoax, even though they just watched their boss keel over and fucking die in front of them at a bakery for no reason.
Dude, that's
like,
Japan. You just can't get worked up over anything.
Know.
I mean,
don't you know that sometimes your boss just dies? You carry on.
It's been working 18 hours straight for like 10 years.
I don't believe that stuff. I dreamed that guy and I'm fine. No less than a minute later, keels over dead, unexplained. And they're just like, huh. And there's so many fucking characters in this movie. It's hard to keep track. And this man, I got to tell you, man, this man looks fucking ridiculous in this movie. I really had a hard time getting past it. It's like an actor, like it's a Japanese actor. The original image is kind of like formless. It's almost like it's not a real person. You know what I mean? It's clearly like a rendering that's like maybe from one of those like digital criminal sketch databases sort of thing, where they just kind of piece things together, is what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a real guy. And then they put this real guy in there and they show him full blunt, and he's just like got big fucking Eugene Levy eyebrows. He's got a comb over, and he's just doing weird shit like cooking next to you at the and just like making weird faces at the camera. It's not scary, and it's also not funny not intentionally funny. It's kind of funny the first time, like, holy shit, they are really going for it with this guy. And ultimately, it just feels kind of aimless and like I don't know, it felt kind of like kiddish. I feel like maybe this is meant for like teenage audiences or preteen audiences or something. Maybe. Even though there is some like pretty dark shit that happens towards the end that like on contextual level is very dark, but or not. I'm taking it out of context is very dark, but in context, it's just really hard to get the tone of this fucking movie.
This decade-old internet meme in movie form is probably not for a young audience. I don't know that. I don't even fucking know about this outside of you explaining it to me. It was news to me, anyways. Cool.
Yeah,
starting off with a heater.
It's only 88 minutes. But yeah, it drags. So yeah.
All right.
I wanted to start off with my most critical and move from there.
All right. Well, Juice, hey, you watched some stuff.
Well, I watched a better film, apparently. I mean, I didn't see that one, but I watched a movie from South Korea. So 1 for Korea, 0 for Japan.
Boy.
Here we
Scoreboard.
go.
Making friends and enemies, huh?
감사합니다. Only enemies.
Oh yeah. So this film that I watched is called The Killers, and it's interesting because it's a Korean anthology film, which Randy, you had brought up another Korean anthology film, I think when we were covering, was it Bifon or recently, which was surprising to me because I haven't seen a lot of Korean anthology films. So for like kind of 2 to come out,
the puddle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The nickname for my anus.
Yes. But no, so I was like, oh, was it the same film? But it's not. It's completely different films. So this one's called The Killers. It consists of 4 different stories. There's no wraparound. So Korea doesn't seem to be about that wraparound with the anthologies, because I don't think there was one for Randy's either. But they were all very different stories, themes. The first one was really cool and honestly kind of started getting me in the mood for spooky season a little bit, because it was vampire themed, but it was this vampire and she runs this really swanky kind of speakeasy, and this guy wanders in there after he's had kind of a fight with a bunch of gangsters. And it was just cool. It was like a really cool setting, and I didn't realize it was an anthology at that time. So I was like, oh, this is kind of like neo-noir, and it's got these like kind of spooky tones. And then the next one like totally flipped, where it was this really gritty but also kind of like humorous take about these contract killers that are hired to like kill this person, and they like get the wrong person, and then the person's like begging for their life, and they're like negotiating like whether they're actually going to kill this person. Like the kind of like they have this code, but it's really crazy, but it's like completely flipped. It's like really real and gritty and kind of fucked up in some ways. But so yeah, there's a lot of variety here. I don't want to like just spoil all the different changes that it goes through, but the directors were, I can go ahead and mention them.
So I was going to ask, it's all different director segments?
It's all from what I could tell, they all look like different directors. But I mean, each short is about 20 to 30 minutes. So like they're pretty hefty. They're not like VH. Yeah, they're pretty hefty shorts there. And so I
love my hefty shorts, you know.
They're so hefty. They can handle that ass. But Kim Jong-kwan Ro-tok, so that person doesn't seem Korean, but Chang Hang-chun and Lee Myung-se are the 4 directors that are on there. So yeah, I actually liked it. The first one definitely was the most stylish, I think, for me, with the vampire one, and Korea doesn't do a lot of vampire stuff, so it was cool. Like I said, neo-noir, but they're all different, unique and special, and I thought it was generally pretty good and interesting anthology. So yeah,
cool.
My doom bung needs hefty shorts.
I want to blow a hole straight through those thin little weak shorts. You know, you gotta have the hefty shorts.
And you gotta have the hefty shorts.
I'm gonna look for a guy with a round, muscular butt.
It's just a hefty trash bag that you've punched her legs through.
Or it's just Jinkos. Like,
Or
just those are hefty shorts.
Yeah.
Well, Randy, why don't you talk about a better movie?
Yeah, come on,
Okay.
Randy. Bring the heat.
I just did.
Heaters.
Bring the cool.
So yeah, okay. I'm going to talk about a movie called Hellhole, directed by Toby Poser and
we got
John
a theme
Adams.
going on here.
All nicknames from
Yeah.
Randy's ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killer.
The next one's called the Big Stinker. No, this one's Hellhole by Toby Poser and John Adams. So these are the guy, or this Toby Poser is the guy who directed, or one of the people that directed Hellbender.
Yeah,
that we
Toby is
reviewed.
the lady. It's a family, a whole family unit.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't. Okay, I couldn't remember what the name situation was. So yeah, and it features her as one of the lead characters. And it's got a little bit of that same feel, but this is definitely more of a like things are in motion sort of movie. So the premise of this movie is this: these people are working in an oil rig, or not an oil rig, excuse me. These working for an oil company, scoping out a new potential site for fracking, and they are in Russia somewhere. I can't remember where they said, somewhere, or in Serbia, or so I don't know, somewhere in the Eastern Europe, and they've got a couple of like environmental professor there with his student who are like trying to, do the environmental impact survey and all that sort of shit to make sure that they're good to go. And they're at odds a little bit with the oil refiners or whatever. And then they go to start like digging their first hole, and they find some bloody shit down there, some sort of bloody shit, and things kind of pop off from there. I don't want to say too much because it is kind of a thing where it's like discovering what's going on is part of the fun. Yeah, so I kind of enjoyed this movie, but it does have that sort of like Hellbender. It's kind of got just that little bit of edge of amateurishness. I think that Toby Poser is like, she does a great job acting in this. She carries the film, in my opinion. Some of the actors around her are not so good, and some of the writing is like clearly like stuff that's like, yeah, we're gonna put that in there, sort of thing. Instead, like it feels very like personalized, as opposed like nobody else got a chance at a draft of this. Do you know what I mean? Like where it's just all coming from a very particular voice. There's a line where at some point, for no reason at all, Toby Poser's like, who's like one of the oil refinery people, like the head of that group. She's like, yeah, you might be surprised, but I voted for Bernie Sanders or something. I was like, that's such a weird thing to just throw in there. I don't know what the point of that was, but I don't know. There's some interesting things in there, but like I think that it's a little bit of a meandering movie, but I like the core conceit works for me, even if like some of the special effects and things like that don't. I think some of the back and forth between characters works, even if some of the acting doesn't. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but I ultimately did enjoy myself with it. I think it's I liked it probably a little bit better than I liked Hellbender. Yeah, I think I liked it a little bit better. The other thing is like I just don't think that I like the same kind of music that this family likes, because the soundtrack in this, it was very particular. And it was like, like metalish or whatever. And it's just not my speed. I can understand why somebody would be like down with it, but it just wasn't hitting for me. It seemed really discordant with what was going on in my mind. So,
do you know if it's more music from their band Hellbender? Like,
I don't know, but I would think maybe, but I didn't check.
It sounded similar.
Oh yeah,
it had a similar feel to it, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was. And it's a family affair, so like they're pulling whatever stops they got. Music is a good one for them to do.
Gonna hit Shudder in the next couple weeks, I think. So you won't have to wait too long to see it. I was gonna watch this. Literally the second I hit play, I got called into work and just didn't have time. But I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Damn work.
Yeah, I know.
It's an interesting film.
Why don't you
Bob,
commit fully to the podcast, Bob?
Quit that dumb job of yours.
Right.
Fucking idiot.
Everything is free.
If it weren't for the blues, you could quit your job, Bob. It's those
Bob,
damn
you
blues
retired years ago.
I know. Could have retired at the age of 18.
You could have bought a houseboat based on my calculations. Just live there.
Totally. Well, one movie that I did
for blues on the blue.
One movie that I did get a chance to watch is called The House of Sayuri. And I looked it up on IMDb, and the title here is simplified to just Sayuri. So you might see it both ways. I don't know, depending on where you look. But this is a horror movie out of Japan, and this was directed by Koji Shiraishi. And it kind of starts off as a sort of familiar, haunted, spooky ghost house. Kind of something that you might have seen come out of Japan before, but it does take some pretty crazy twists and turns along the way and become something totally different. It'd be kind of difficult to really compare this adequately to anything else. It definitely has some comedy in it. It's got some pretty bleak moments, and it's got some decent scares. Some of the scares don't quite work for me, and I think there's some budgetary restraints going along with this movie that might be holding some of those back. But there's a couple that really worked for me. Juice, you saw this one too, right?
Yeah, I saw this one too, and yeah, it was. I mean, it kind of starts off kind of like a haunted house.
Yeah.
You know, it's got some haunted house elements, a Japanese haunted style house. And I like the location. You know, this family moves into this new home. It's like their dream home, and you've got the grandparents and some kids and the parents, and it's. I like the location, the setting, and just the architecture. This kind of feels are really cool. The Japan's bringing, but yeah, I saw it. It was pretty solid.
Yeah, I liked this one too. Like, this is one.
Oh, you saw this one too? Okay,
yeah. I watched this one as well, and like, what I liked about this movie is that it took some like crazy kind of left turns in tone that I did not see coming, and it is again sort of this movie that like people seem weirdly aloof at times, and maybe it is a Japanese thing that I'm just not like accustomed to, but. Like, at times people just don't seem to react appropriately, and then other times people act completely off the wall different, like from what you would ever expect them to act. And like, I don't know. Sometimes it hit me as like kind of amusing and fun, and sometimes it took the storyline in a weird direction that I appreciated to like mix things up from what it seemed like it was at the very beginning. Pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah. They don't wear T-shirts that tell you their opinion, so you can't really know where they're coming from over in Japan.
How am I supposed to know if you like fat chicks or not? Who are you with if not stupid? I don't understand.
What are they thinking? I just can't get into their mind.
The inscrutable T-shirtless peoples of Japan.
If you can read this, pick me up and put me back on the bar stool.
No, that guy's just going to keep lying there. It's a bad system, people. It's a bad system.
Cool. We'll keep an eye out for Sayuri or House of Sayuri coming out of Japan soon. Randy, you got another one?
Yeah, I got another one here. So this is a Mexican film called, and I'm going to maybe butcher this too, Parvulos. I don't know what that. Yeah. I don't know what that means exactly. Huh?
Yeah, I think you're saying it right. I'll try and Google
Parvulos,
it. Yeah,
something like that. I mean, I'm looking at the word. I just don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. But this is an interesting movie. I thought it's kind of long at 100, almost 2 hours. But it's about some kids. It's a post-apocalyptic film, and you aren't really given a whole lot of details about the apocalypse right away. But you slowly start to piece together, and you slowly start to see that. This was a zombie style apocalypse, and the principal cast of this film are like a 17-year-old kid whose leg had to be amputated, and his two younger brothers. And we find out, maybe at the at the end of the first act or something, that the secret thing that they have not been telling you the whole time is that their zombified parents are being held captive underneath in the basement. And they're unwilling to kill them, and the young I don't know. I don't want to like. There's a lot of beats to this movie, so I could keep going without spoiling a lot. Like, there's a lot to be spoiled, so I could spoil a little bit and you'd be fine. But I don't want to do that. I think it really it just kind of keeps you guessing as to where it's going next, and it feels like one of those movies where. Sometimes it feels unfocused, where it's like it's just saying and then this happens and then this happens. But I think it does kind of come around back, horseshoe back around to sort of like having something of a focus by the end. But more than anything, like I really love these child actors. These actors in this movie, like they kind of carry it, and they do like again another movie that has like kind of wild tonal shifts where there's times where it's just like domestic silliness, like fucking I don't know, like kids acting stupid, like there's that montages and stuff like that, and then there's times where it's like bleak Walking Dead-esque shit. It's just very varied. I do like it though. I think it might be my favorite thing that I watched at this festival. In fact, I think it is. I'm going to go and put that out there.
Apparently means kindergartners or preschoolers. So,
yeah, I think the subtext was something like "children of the apocalypse" or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, that is the ultimate premise, and I don't know, man. It goes places. Some shit happens where I'm just like, it's not like the most shocking shit in the world, but it's like, oh wow, I didn't expect them to go this route with it. Very surprising.
Cool.
Yeah, I enjoy it. And also, this is like this filmmaker also made another movie which I watched, and I similarly felt like kind of charmed by and liked, even though I could see some faults with it. I think a movie called The Similars, which just felt like a Twilight Zone episode. Like it was like clearly styled after like a Twilight Zone episode about like shapeshifters at a bus stop in a rainstorm. Like it's good shit. Like I don't know. He has some good just straight genre tales under his belt, it seems like.
Cool.
And that director is Isaac Esban. I said that. Yeah. So I had that. I also watched a movie called Black Eyed Susan. That was the last movie I watched by Scooter McCrae. Not my cup of tea. This is a movie that we were heavily told by the person handing off the screener that it was, I think it was Ted Gagan too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That it's intentionally like, what was the phrasing he used? Like, not standoffish. What's the word? Like difficult. It's a difficult movie to watch. And that is definitely true. I started watching this movie. This movie is like, we've talked about movies recently that felt like it was directed by somebody who directs porn. This movie feels like it just kind of is porn for a lot of it, but really fucking weird porn that nobody's going to get off on.
It says, I just want to read it. It says, make no mistake, Black Eyed Susan is purposefully difficult.
yeah, it definitely is. And like
warning, wow, it came with a warning there.
Yeah, and I think that was really helpful, because if I hadn't gotten that warning, I would have been like, what the fuck did they send me here? What is this? But yeah, it's basically the premise is that this guy who's down on his luck gets a job with his buddy who, I can't remember what, he's like some sort of scientist or something, or like he's creating porn robots, basically Westworld style, like do anything you want porn robots, specifically so that you can abuse them, like abuse the shit out of them. And so Black Eyed Susan is one of those models, and she's like, they explain away the fact that she's very obviously a real person sitting there and on a casting couch looking set doing this thing, by like just like dialogue, like, oh, we invented this, so the haptics are just great. It's just like human skin, isn't it? It even stinks a little bit, and all this crazy shit. And it's like Ex Machina, except the robot wants to be beaten up, and it's fucking weird, man.
But wait, she is a robot, or she's not a robot? She's not a robot.
No, she is a robot, but like as like you can visually see, like it's very strict budget.
I thought that was the twist where like
no,
they're selling you robots, but then there's one that's not a robot.
No.
Okay, so it is a robot.
It is a robot, but just like because it's a lower budget thing, they can't really hide how human like this person is, no matter how hard she acts. Like there's not enough makeup that they have access to or whatever to make it sell. So they just like through dialogue make it. I think the whole also they're trying to make it as like one-to-one with a real person as possible as part of what makes it engaging. Part of like the concept, like the conflict of the thing, that the guy is like taking this job. He's hard on his luck, but he also isn't into like violent porn or anything like that. And they're like studying him as he does this. It's strange. It's strange. I'm not a big fan of it. It's like Ex Machina plus The Artifice Girl plus any low rent terrible porn you've seen on
Edward
Penis
website.
has. Dude.
Yes. And it has the quality of that to boot, like in
That
terms
is,
of like
I believe,
capability.
Vinegar Syndrome's second movie that they've produced themselves, like front to back. So I'm
that
sure
shows.
I'm sure they'll be putting out a nice like 4K edition of it or whatever sometime soon.
This is their Oppenheimer, man. They're going for something like
They're
heady and trippy. This is like they're going for something, and I appreciate that. Like they really are like they have a concept, an interesting like nugget of what if in the middle of everything, a real science fiction nugget to play with. But it's still what it is. It still does feel like a Vinegar Syndrome at the end for me, which I'm not a big fan of those sort of things myself. So
Yeah.
it was definitely weird to throw on sight unseen with my spouse. Very
Sounds
weird.
like right up your alley, though, Bob. That's all the kind of things you're into.
Bob's a He-Man woman
Is
hater.
it really?
We all
Is
know
that what I'm into? Very violent.
You're gonna look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong?
That's what I've been told. That's just the grapevine. That's just the word on the street.
Oh, well, don't believe everything you hear. We did get an email. So Fantasia just concluded, and we got an email today, actually, from our boy Ted Gagan with all of the list of movies that won awards at the festival. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to a handful of them. Best International Feature came from director Ant Timpson from New Zealand. The movie's Bookworm, and it's got your boy Elijah Wood in it, Juice, which I know you.
Whoa!
Oh, I saw a trailer for that. I think is that the one where he's like it's his daughter and him like reconnecting.
Yeah, it seems that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that trailer looked good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Also, so that took the gold. The silver came in from France. The movie's The Count of Monte Cristo. This is getting a ton of buzz, and from the stills I saw, it looks gorgeous. Really want to see that. Taking the bronze is a movie called Rats from the United States, and I don't know anything about that.
Rats.
Follow the rats.
Follow the rats.
There's I won't read all these, but I'll read a couple more. Best Asian Feature came out of Japan, called A Samurai in Time. Best Animated Feature, also from Japan, called Ghost Cat Anzu.
Whoa!
And those were the features. There's a bunch of shorts.
Bob,
too.
I don't see that. I see. Oh, you said best anime. Oh, you didn't read the silver and bronze. I thought you were going down the list. I was like, that's not what that says.
I can read.
Now, I realize that now.
Sometimes we need to prove it, Bob. Sometimes
I didn't realize it before right now, but now I realize.
Now I realize you can read.
Was worried for years.
Man, that Bob, he's real stupid.
I don't think he can read. I'm worried.
We've been propping up this dimwit for years.
I draw pictures and all the text.
Thanks, man. That's
Friends
friendship.
like Charlie Kelly.
That's friendship.
Cool.
Yeah, well, thanks again to everybody over at Fantasia for including us in this year's film festival, and looking forward to next year for sure. Check out some of these movies coming down the pike. There's definitely a lot of good shit that we were able to see, and a lot of good shit that we weren't able to see. Cuckoo drops like this week, I think, in theaters. Check that out. Also, Oddity was in theaters. I don't know if that's still out or not, but that should be hitting Shudder very soon as well. And they also had Azrael, which we mentioned in another wrap up that we did, and that is coming to theaters in September now. It finally got a date. So check those out too. Cool. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to mention?
No, that's it for me.
Thanks to the good folks at Fantasia and the participants. I had a good time watching these things.
Yeah.
Even the ones I didn't love.
Thanks for stopping by. Until next time, as always, keep chilling.
Big old doinks.